Hi peeps, it's my favorite time of year. It's so nice and chilly here in New England this week. And as you all know, I love fall so much. And so I was super excited to put my hoodie on today and just be in like nice, cool weather, have some candles lit, get all my fall candles going. And I just love this time of year so much. I'm just always so grateful this time of year. And it really does provide such a beautiful chance for us to go within and to spend time with, if you work with deity on your path, deity, and really just feel close and connected to what matters to us. And so much of my practice just really thrives in this dark time, as we prepare to step into more the dark half of the year. So much of my practice really thrives in this time of year. And so I'm super stoked. I love this time of year so much. I am going to have a video next week sharing just like general witchy chat and books that I'm reading, decks that I'm working with, etc. I know you guys love those videos, especially this time of year, so be looking for that on the channel next week. There was something else I was going to say there. Oh yeah, so the channel just recently hit 2 million views, and I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you to all of you for that. It's a pretty remarkable thing. It wasn't even something I really thought about when the channel started. And so it's just been beautiful to grow this. I really feel like grow the channel with you all and to get to share my spiritual journey and to be able to do that in this way and to see that others are able to grow on their spiritual journeys as well. It's a really, really beautiful blessing. So I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you to each and every one of you for reaching this milestone with me and for sharing the journey for so long. And it's been over a decade now. It's weird to think that we've all kind of grown up together in a way, right? Or gotten older together in a way, which I think is a really beautiful thing. Crone energy is so beautiful to me personally. And so it's beautiful to think about. It's beautiful. I hate to use that word twice, so close together there, but it feels very special to think about stepping into that crone energy and to feel what it is to step into that at a solitary level, but then also at a community level as well, right? So I just want to take a moment and say thank you to each and every one of you. That being said, I want to talk about the Pulp Tarot. I want to do a full review of this deck before I get sidetracked with all of the other videos that I have scheduled to make for this fall. I have a lot of videos on tap for the fall. I'm also going to be leading my Samhain Sabbath circle, and I will put the link to that below. I'm going to do a video specifically just on that offering on my Etsy shop, but I know a lot of you like to participate in that circle. We sold out really quickly last year, so that link's going to be down below. But I want to make sure I get this review done before I get sidetracked with all of the content that I have on tap to create throughout the fall this year, because this is a really special deck, and this deck does deserve a full review video. I am fucking in love with this deck, guys. Like, it reads like a charm. It's so honest and tongue-in-cheek and hysterical to work with, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a deck that I found it works very, very well with, that I want to talk about, that if you have either or both decks in your collection, you might want to work with. So anyhow, the Pulp Tarot is by Todd Alcott. It's a self-produced indie deck. I will put the link to purchase it down below. What did I want to say there? I have posted a reveal of this deck because a viewer did send this deck to me, and they were absolutely right. I'm just going to be honest right out the gate. I fucking love this deck. This deck's amazing. So this is the box that the deck comes in. It looks like an old pulp fiction book, right? It's like absolutely gorgeous. I love this box. I have it on display downstairs. And then when you open the box up, it looks like this, like kind of like the inside of a cheap novel. And then there's the little white book. The entire white book is in English, so you are getting some information here. I do actually enjoy reading the guidebook meanings here because Todd does give us a little bit of a jumping off point, and he does go in a slightly different direction for some of the card meanings that I found to be really inspiring in my daily journaling as I've worked with this deck almost every single day since I got this. I've worked with this personally, and I've used it for quite a few readings at this point. So this deck is already well loved and well used, and I really enjoy this deck for daily draws. But the back says, a dynamic two-fisted approach to the tarot. The Pulp Tarot. I love this. 78 sensational cards. Thrilling major arcana. Hard-boiled minor arcana. Fast-paced instruction book describes every card in dramatic detail. The Pulp Tarot gives the traditional tarot card deck a new twist, with a cast of characters captured from the glorious repository of pulp illustration, ready to unleash the secret forces pulsing vibrantly within every soul and lay bare the squirming, throbbing life within. Colorful, intriguing, and complex, the Pulp Tarot was created with only one goal in mind: to guide your questing soul from darkness to light, if you dare. It's published by the Unemployed Philosophers Guild. So it's probably not necessarily self-produced. I do apologize for saying that earlier. So that's the box that the deck comes in. This is the backing. Of course, as you can tell from my nails, I freaking love this backing. You can see that it's pulp. It says Pulp Tarot in this beautiful kind of tessellation. There we go. Thank you. And this is what the sides look like. There's no gilding or anything like that. I will say my one thing is I am a very gentle shuffler. I'm very gentle on my decks. I take very good care of them. My Tarot of Vampires original copy is still in great shape, and it's over 11 years old now. This deck is already starting to show, I don't know if you can see there, but it is already starting to show some wear here. So I would say if you're someone who tends to be hard on your deck and you really shuffle the deck hardcore, you may want to really have a soft touch with this deck, because that is a little bit concerning to me, that I already have some of the card backing rubbing off just from the shuffling that I've been doing. I'm, as I said, really gentle and cautious with my decks. So that is my only negative thing that I have to say about this deck, is that I'm going to have to practice greater care with my deck, and I'm already super careful. So comparison of size, there's the Darkwood Tarot, so very similar in size. One of the things I love is it's very easy to tell which suit in the minor arcana you're working with, because there's a different setup. Like you can see, here's the swords, and then we have the cups there, very different font and a different feel. So you really, here's the wands, the font for the wands and the setup for the wands. And so then I need pentacles. Let's see where, of course, I can't find. And there's the pentacles. And one of my favorite things is so much like pulp illustration in the artwork for the novels, the kind of trashy novels that a lot of the pulp illustration was used for, or the serial magazines of the time in the 40s and 50s, is you have the number of the majors here, right? And then you also have this little coin here that lets you know that it's the majors. And then down here is his little signature script. But I love the way that it's set up, because it really looks like those covers. The majors are really cool. Let me see if I have a little bit of a better example than the Hierophant here. Like the World says Major Arcana 21. Like each one kind of lets you know that it's a major, and it does it in this really cool way. So if you're new to tarot, this is actually a deck that you can work with really easily, in that it's going to let you know when you're working with a minor and when you're working with a major, you know, very fluidly in this really fun graphic way. So that being said, let's take a look at some of the imagery. This has everything. It has like the pinup style of pulp illustration. It's got that kind of space age alien, like 50s kitschy horror feel. I will give you an example of that right here. And then it's got, especially in the core cards, this really great, almost like the old patterns, dress patterns and clothing patterns back in the day, like those illustrations you would see, or illustrations in magazines at the time for fashion, etc. Like the core cards really represent and show that. So it's got this great feeling of like nostalgia and Americana, and these really beautiful, drenched, oversaturated primary colors. And it's just so much fun to work with. It's so much freaking fun. And you'll see the small symbol for the wands there, and then we have the 5 of the wands shown. It's just very user-friendly, It's fun, it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, it's sassy, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I think this deck is totally worth the purchase. If you're wondering, you know, is it worth the investment? So I know it's a little bit pricier, but it's absolutely gorgeous. And you'll see in readings when you lay the cards out for a spread, excuse me, sorry about that. The story of that spread is told so easily through the cards that present themselves. It's just a charm to read with, and it's very upfront right away. Like, you know who this deck is right away. You don't need to spend as much time as, say, with like Tarot of the Abyss, getting to know it, even though I love Tarot of the Abyss. You guys know I love Tarot of the Abyss. It's in my top 5. But you know who this deck is right away. It's like the scotch drinking 9-to-5 city working guy who's just going to tell it to you how it is, right? Very straight up, you know, scotch on the rocks. That's how this deck is. There's no prevaricating, there's no beating around the bush. You can suss out the details to the story very easily, but at the same time, you don't have to if you don't want to. So it's a deck that you can use for deeper work, but it also lends itself so well for just straight and to the point, you know, cheap and cheerful readings. I love this image of the 5 of Cups. It's like so perfectly depicts the feeling of the 5 of Cups in this really great 50s way. Like he's very, very gifted. This is one of my favorite images in the deck. I love this Queen of Wands. I love the depiction of the 4 of Wands. And you really get that feel like with the swords, you can tell the font, the setup, the framework in the image is different than the other suits. But you also really get this feel for what it's like to live each of the suits. And I love that. I freaking love that. And look at this Ace of Cups. There's the Ace of Wands. So you can see it's very user-friendly if you're new. I love this Knight of Pentacles. It's like my Roger Sterling Silver Fox Dreams. I don't know if you guys remember that from years ago. There's the Emperor. You guys know 3 of Swords, 9 of Pentacles, my top ways of telling if I'm going to love a deck or not. This may be one of my favorite depictions of the 9 of Pentacles ever. This in TOV, Knight of Pentacles, like, come on. Who does not want to embody that energy, right? Freaking hot. Right? Like, look at this. Ah, this 6 of Cups, like the old books from back in the day. If you struggle with the Temperance card, you're going to love this depiction of the Temperance card. Look at this. It says Major Arcana 14, part man, part woman, all angel. 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on land. I love it. It makes it very easy to remember what it is that you want to walk away, that you want to know about basic meanings for each of the cards in tarot. So it's fun. It's a fun way of getting to know tarot. If you're well acquainted with tarot like me, if you've been reading for years, it's just a gorgeous depiction. It's just different enough, but it's still true enough to the original structure that you just really get to lighten up and have fun with this deck. So if you've been on the fence, I highly recommend this. I promised you guys I would do a full review, and I was like, this deck deserves a full review. It's one of my favorite decks that I purchased recently. And I fucking love it. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. I love it. So cool. It's so cool. I'm not showing you all the images. I'm being really good, guys. But look at this 3 of Pentacles. I love the imagery in that 3. Let's see. 10 of Pentacles. Very like straight up, as you would think, but also evocative of this very traditional family feel. But then you're considering like what's going on beneath the surface there in this really beautiful way. So here's 5 of Pentacles. And again, I do recommend reading the little white book. I don't typically, say that to you guys, but in this case, you will catch some little phrases and sentences in there that kind of help turn some traditional meanings on their head and give you a fresh perspective. Love this 8 of Cups. And then here's the Fool, the Death card, and the Wheel of Fortune. So hopefully that gives you an idea of the imagery. It is a little bit slippery. It's not super slick though. I don't mind. This deck, I could care less what cardstock it's on. I'm gonna love it anyhow. It's that good. I highly, highly recommend this deck. But so I just want to say, highly recommend. It's an amazing deck. It has a great personality. I want to talk about using it as a clarifier for Tarot of the Mystical Moments. I stumbled upon this the other day in a client reading, and it's fucking amazeballs as a clarifier. So I just want to give you guys an example, kind of killing two birds with one stone here, because you can see from my demonstration how you can clarify tarot with another tarot deck. And you can also see how certain tarot decks can communicate really well. Just give me one sec to have a sip of tea. Okay, so let's see. What kind of example should we use here? We'll do a 3-card spread so it's really short and sweet. Let's say we want some information on like understanding where we're at on our spiritual journey. And of course, as always with this sample reading, if it resonates as a reading for yourself, please feel free to take it. So we have the 7 of Cups, the King of Cups, and the Queen of Swords. So if we're looking at where we are in regards to our spiritual journey, I'm starting with Tarot of the Mystical Moments. I'm just going to show you guys some of the imagery here so you get a feel for that. That's the King of Cups, and then we have 7 of Cups and the Queen of Swords, right? So I would say, looking at this in regards to where we are at on our spiritual journey, you can see that in the past we've been in a place where there's been a lot of choice, indecision, trying to decide what we're going to stick to in our practice. Maybe we've been exploring many different modalities or spiritual paths, and actually choosing to commit to a path that we're going to stick to has felt kind of scary for us. But currently we're in the energy of the King of Cups. So we're seeing that we're really opening up to our intuitive abilities, perhaps even our psychic medium abilities. There's an awakening of our ability to see beyond just the physical realms. And we have a desire to step into real commitment on this path because the King of Cups is a leader, right? So there's a desire to be able to step fully onto our path in regards to our gifts, to make a choice, which we've deflected in the past around our spirituality. There's also a call here to acknowledge our emotions. And so it may be that it's time to engage in some shadow work on our path. And we can see that the direction we're headed in here is the Queen of Swords. It's an honest, truthful path in regards to our spirituality. One that's fully authentic and one that allows us to be who we really are, and one that also allows other people to be who they really are. It may be that as we're doing some of the shadow work we're called to do currently, as we step into that energy of the Queen of Swords on our spiritual path, we're really going to have an understanding of some of our triggers, for lack of a better word on my part, and as well as our truths. And so being able to be honest about what's gotten us to where we are, and that sometimes those wounds have been necessary to help us become who we are, right? So let's say that we want to clarify our 7 of Cups. What is it that we fully need to commit to then, that we've been reticent to commit to in the past? Here's where the Pulp Tarot like really shines with the Mystical Moments Tarot. So let's check it out. The Sun. We've been reticent to connect within our spiritual path to what actually fulfills us, to what actually brings us joy. Perhaps we've chosen not to connect with deity at the depth and level at which our heart yearns to, or we haven't given ourselves real time to come to understand the structure of tarot and to work with that for our own spiritual benefit and our own spiritual growth. But the Sun is saying what we've been reticent to commit to is actually what's going to bring us the most fulfillment. So let's say we want to clarify further, then how do we step into that as we embrace the King of Cups? So this clarifier is like a bridge between those two cards, right? So how do we step into that? The Chariot. We have to actually commit. We have to exert our willpower and move in the direction of what speaks to our hearts spiritually, right? We have to claim that right. And it's interesting that the Chariot being a water element card, also King of Cups being a water element card, right? King of Cups, fire of water here. So there's a real call for us to just commit, to put a ring on it spiritually, right? And to just go for it. let's say we want to clarify Queen of Swords here. So how is this truth within our practice and understanding of our shadow wounds in our practice going to support us down the road? Nine of Wands. It's going to allow us to stop being so defensive and to let change occur on our path, right? So I just want to show you guys like how the Pulp Tarot looks with the Mystical Moments Tarot. It's so amazing how well these two read together and how much fun it is to work with them. Like, look at this Chariot bridging the gap here between the Seven of Cups, which is all that like ethereal starry realm, and the King of Cups, which has this very watery feel here. And look at that bridging the gap between the two. This kind of like space age, ultra modern, you know, now it would be a retro car for us, but at the time would have been this really like speedy sports car, and like this, there's this really groovy feel to her, right? And it's like the way that we create this commitment is by embracing this within ourselves, but the colors together, right? It's just like a dream as a clarifier. So if that reading resonates for you, please allow yourself to take that information going forward out of this video. But I just wanted to demonstrate how beautiful these two decks work together, and also that it's very easy to use tarot as a clarifier for tarot. If you guys would like further videos on that in the future, just let me know in the comment section down below and I will be sure to do that. I can't recommend this deck enough. I fucking love it. Over time, it might end up being in my top 5. I'm obsessed with this deck right now. I can't stop working with it. So if you're on the fence, let me know if you decide to purchase it. If you already have it and you love it, let me know too. But as always, I am sending you all so much love and many blessings. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.